unwind.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to go ahead and do another budget with a friend video. I figure that this is something that I can do as a series because I know that there's a lot of people out there that have a different budget than I do, and sometimes they don't know how to break down their numbers, and if I can help with that, I'd be more than happy to do so. And so far I've had a few people reach out to me and they've given me permission to share their numbers with you guys so that you guys can just see different budgets and see, you know, if there's anything that you can take from those budgets as opposed to mine, which is a little bit different. So I'm gonna go ahead and be budgeting for Jackie or Jacqueline, who's a subscriber of this channel. So if you guys want to see me break down her numbers and do her budget and help her out with her debt snowball, stay tuned for that. I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye-bye. Hey guys, and I am back. So I'm gonna go ahead and break down Jacqueline's numbers and let's get started. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through the emails. She is a student. She goes to the university and she just sent me an email with some information, and I'm just gonna go through the process of what I did before I ended up coming up with the numbers that I came up for her, and I'll show you how I broke them down and you'll just kind of see my scribbles and scrabbles and all that stuff. So the first email I received, it was on Saturday, February the 9th, and I believe it was a little bit after I put up my video, and she's like, so I have 3 incomes. First, it's my office job, a part-time 15 hours a week, and I get paid an average of $352 every 2 weeks. The second job is my teacher assistant's job, also 15 hours a week, but I get paid monthly. If there are hardly any holidays or missed days, then I make about $810 for the month. So we're averaging $810 for the month. Then third, she tutors once a week for an hour each time, one student, but lately it's been once every other week, so $20 an hour, so she averages about $40 to $60 a week, and she sent me a spreadsheet of her expenses and whatnot, and as you can see, some of my scribbles and stuff, because one of the things that she mentioned was that she wanted to have a bi-weekly breakdown as opposed to a monthly breakdown. I was playing with it for a little bit because her biggest payment is $810, and I wanted to find out when she got paid. So I did ask her that, and she told me that it's every 10th of the month. And then for her second job, her part-time office job, she gets paid on the 12th and the 26th. So I had to break it down as such. So the 10 and the 12th, that money gets combined, and then we break down her numbers, and you'll see how I did that. And then the 26th is separate. And then since this is variable, since her third income is variable, I'm leaving that as extra income, and she can put that towards wherever she wants, whether she wants to put in her debt snowball or into savings, or if she wants a little bit of extra spending cash or whatever. That's just for her, money for her to play with. So then from there, she sent me her budget, and as you can see here, she has phone, gas, CrossFit, Planet Fitness, her credit card, eyebrows, groceries, Spotify, mani-pedi, fun spending, emergency fund savings, date night, hair, car maintenance, Christmas gifts. She didn't have an eating out category, and I did ask her if she goes out to eat often, or if she doesn't go out to eat often, how many times does she think, or how much money does she think she spent on eating out? And then she replied, and she actually told me $60 to allocate $60 for that. So then I added that myself. I mean, she only currently has one credit card. That's her only debt right now, which is really fantastic for her, and she'll pay that off in no time, and it'll be super quick for her to pay that off, and then she can put that extra income towards her emergency fund and her savings and whatever else she wants to put that towards. And then I had sent her some follow-up questions. So I asked her if her dates were every 2 weeks. Was that like for a month what they spend and whatnot? And she did reply that that's what they're giving themselves, to $75 a month, because they tend to stay in, which is awesome. I do the same. No shame, girl. My husband and I, anytime he tells me like, let's go out, I'm like, let's like order Thai and like watch Netflix. I love being home. I'm such a homebody. So yeah, that's like an ideal date to me, is like Valentine's Day. He asked me what I wanted to do. I said, can we order Thai and watch Game of Thrones? So that's what we're doing. Anyways, so then I asked her how often she gets her hair done, mani-pedis and eyebrows and stuff, so I can figure that out and break that down for her. And then I had asked her, because on her gas, which is this category right here, I don't know if you guys can see it. So for gas, she put $150, and I wasn't sure if that was like gas for her home or gas for her car. And she clarified that for me, that it's for her car. She doesn't have a car payment, which is fantastic. She doesn't pay rent because she lives at phone until she graduates college, which is amazing. I asked her when her CrossFit was due, which was on the 20th. I just needed to know that so I can break down her numbers. And then her minimum payment on her credit card is $25, but she always gives over that. Her limit is $600. Her balance is $558.61, and her APR is 24%. So that's why I think it's important that she attacks this right away, and she definitely has the funds to do that. So let me see if I can help her break down those numbers so she can get out of this debt, which based on my numbers, she can be out of it in like 2 months, maybe less than. But once she gets rid of that, my gosh, she's going to have so much money to play with and to save and, you know, whatnot, that it's going to be amazing. So let's go ahead and break this down. Just for the purposes of going forward, I broke down her incomes into pay 1, pay 2, pay 3. So pay 1 is her teaching assistant job, which pays her the most, which is $810 a month. Then it's pay 2 is her office job, which pays her $704 total, but $352 every 2 weeks. And then pay 3 is variable between $40 to $60. So that's what we're going with. So first of all, I'm just going to go ahead and write out her expenses. So for her credit card, she gives $80 a month. Then Planet Fitness, she gives $10 a month. Then we have her CrossFit, and she gives $150 a month. Let's go to her phone, which she pays $67 a month. Then we have Spotify, and Spotify is $5 a month. Then gas, and this is for her car, so her gas is $150 a month. Then groceries, she allots herself $100 a month. Fun spending, we're doing $100 a month as well. And then eating out, she does $60. But I did ask her to monitor it and just kind of like put her receipts together so she could see how much she's actually spending. Because one of the things that I did share with her was that before I got on this journey, and I think if you guys have been watching me from the beginning, you'll probably know that, you know, I've made some decent money because, you know, I'm an actress and I've worked on a few TV shows, and I made some really decent money that I did not know how to manage. And, you know, after all was said and done, I've got nothing to show for the amount of money that I was able to make. Now, it wasn't millions or anything like that, but I made some pretty decent money where I could have made some investments and, you know, just had some savings or more than I have now. And one of the things that I did was a year ago, because through the Screen Actors Guild, which is a union that I belong to, they offer all these programs. So there's this thing called the Actors Fund, and the Actors Fund, they have like different seminars for people that are in the industry or people that are trying to get into the industry and whatnot. And they have things like, you know, how to manage your money and how to invest, and others are like, you know, how to market yourself and stuff like that. So I went to one of their seminars, which was about managing your money, because I've known for a very long time that I am horrible with money. I have horrible habits that I learned as a child and that I never did anything about once I actually had the ability to do something about them myself, because I think I made a lot of excuses for myself. I was like, oh, well, I was never taught, and you know, my parents were kind of a paycheck to paycheck kind of thing, and they always struggled, and you know, I learned my habits from them. But the thing is that I just stopped making excuses about it, because I was a grown-ass woman now, and I was taking care of myself, and I needed to learn how to budget and how to own up to it, own up to my mistakes, own up to all of these things that I just sort of kept putting on someone else. It was very much like, I hate this terminology, but very much the victim mentality of like, I was a victim of my circumstances and there was nothing that I could do about them, which was completely a lie that I told myself. So anyways, you guys, you know I tend to ramble. I ended up going into this program. I think I went for like 6 meetings in total. But one of the things that they had me look at was how much money I was spending on eating out, meeting out with friends, or ordering in, or, you know, picking up takeout. And I did that math, you guys. And that math shocked me to my core. Like, I was shook. Like, shook-eth. Like, seriously, I was shook to my core. Because when I averaged it out, I was spending about $600 a month on takeout, on eating out, and on ordering in. $600 a month just for myself. Not for anybody else, just for myself. And my jaw dropped. So when I started this process last year, like this whole budgeting thing here on YouTube, that was one of the things that I really wanted to focus on, because it was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, think of how much money I could have saved by now, on how much debt I could have paid off by now if I had not been so frivolous with my money and so financially stupid. But anyways, it's a lesson learned, and I think that's one of the reasons why I always say that it's like no judgment. Like, whatever your budget is, like, let's make it work for you. Let's figure out how we can get your debt paid. Let's figure out how you can still do the things that you want to do. No judgment, because we all have our own journey. We all have our own thing that we're trying to figure out, and we just got to do, at the end of the day, what works best for us, or how you want to tackle your debt is up to you. If you want to be aggressive and super strict with everything that you spend and all that, my gosh, my hat's off to you. If you want to be have a more moderate approach, if you want to have a more lax approach, that is completely up to you, because at the end of the day, it is your money. Nobody makes it but you, and you know, you'll figure it out. You'll learn through the process. I have learned a lot, and and you'll see that I'm going to do my budget breakdown for paycheck number 2 of February this week. And you'll see that I've made some changes because slowly but surely I've been seeing, you know what, I can cut money from this and put towards this. I can get rid of this or do that. And it's a work in progress. It's a constant work in progress, and we're all learning here. So anyways, I went off on a tangent, but I just wanted to say that. So, okay, so that is this. So her total for this is, let me just do the math. I think it's 722 if I remember correctly, but let me just do that math really quick. Okay, so 722. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this as is for now, and then I'll come back and show you how I'm going to break it down so that she can sort of have that bi-weekly breakdown. I wasn't able to fully get to that as I wanted to, but we're going to figure it out, and hopefully it'll work for her because I was able to sort of make it work. Okay, so we're going to leave this, and then we're going to go on to her sinking funds. Okay, so car maintenance, she does $40 a month. Emergency fund is $50 a month. Then she has savings, and savings is $50 a month as well. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's so cold in my house right now, and my hands are freezing, and it's hard for me to write. I think we need to get like a space heater or something, because I feel like the insulation in this place is not, either we have no insulation or it's not really great, because it's been 45 outside. I know it's LA, you guys, it's crazy, but it's 45 degrees, and I know it's probably a lot better than most places in the US and other places, but like it's really cold for LA. I'm used to like 70-degree weather, and so it's been freezing, but for some reason it gets so much colder inside the house. Like today it's not as cold during the day, it's like 65 outside, but in here I swear it feels like 10 degrees colder, and I think we're gonna get a space heater or something because I'm just like freezing. I'm so freaking cold. Okay, anyway, so back to this. So hair, she spends about 100. Mani-pedi, she spends 70. Eyebrows, 24. And this is for every time that she goes in, so it's 12 and 12, so but we just combined it to 24. Then date night, she said 75. That's actually really, really good. Christmas, 20. Gifts, 20. And then debt snowball. So debt snowball, we're gonna leave it empty because she actually didn't have one, and I added it for her because she said she didn't want to focus on paying off her debt. So I added one for her, and I'm gonna go ahead and give you the number for that. So the way that I broke this down is what was left over based on each paycheck period. So for paycheck number 1, I broke it down with pay 1 and pay 2. So pay 1 is $810 and pay 2 is $352 because it's half of 704. So she makes 704 total, but it's $352 every 2 weeks. So from pay 1, she gets paid on the 10th, and pay 2, she gets paid on the 12th. So that income is going to be combined, and that income is So that gives her $1,162 for paycheck 1. Now, it's a huge chunk of her money is going to go into all of her sinking funds and her fixed expenses, but she gets it out of the way, and then it's done, and she has money for everything that she needs to do. So it's good. And then paycheck 2, which is out of pay number 2, the $352 that she makes, and that goes again into her paycheck number 2 breakdown. So I don't know if this is making any sense, but it makes sense to me. So let's go ahead and add up. So what I did is that once I did these numbers, so 722 was her previous total. Oh no, so let's do this. So like I said, she makes 352 plus 810, and that's from her first paycheck number 1 breakdown, right? So when you combine her income from pay number 1 and pay number 2, which she gets paid on the 10th and the 12th, she gets 1162. So from 1162, she's going to subtract her fixed expenses, which is 722, and that leaves her with 440, right? So 440 is what we have to play with to put into her sinking funds. So now what I did is that then I split all of her sinking funds in half. So her fixed expenses are going to be, she's going to put that money away completely for every single one of her fixed expenses. Once she gets into her sinking funds, that's when she splits this. So all of these become half. So that half of it gets put in on paycheck 1 and the other half gets put in on paycheck number 2. So what we have from here, so now I'm going to just subtract from all of these. So all of these are going to be in half. So then I'm going to do minus 20 So then she has $215 left after she's put in every single sinking fund and has put money away for all of her fixed expenses. So all of her fixed expenses are completely accounted for, and then half of her money for her sinking funds is accounted for, and then she still has $215 left from paycheck period number 1. So that's what I did. So I added $215 into her debt snowball for paycheck period number 1. So then what happens is she still has one more check, actually 2 more pays, pay number 2 and pay number 3. So pay number 2 is still, she still gets $352 on the 26th, which will break down for her paycheck number 2. So in that, she does all of the halves for the rest of her sinking funds. None of that goes into her fixed expenses because her fixed expenses are taken care of. So she only has to put that money, that $352, into her sinking funds. So that $352 from paycheck number 2, then you deduct, again, the other half of her sinking funds. So that's minus 20. Then that leaves her with $127 after all of her sinking funds are accounted for from paycheck number 2. So then you add that here. So once again, with that $215 plus that $127, that means that she's putting $342 in her debt snowball, and she can pay off that almost $600 debt in 2 months. Once she's paid off her debt, because that's her only debt, which is amazing, then she can just take those $342 and add them into her emergency fund or her savings fund or however she wants to play with them. Obviously, since my whole thing is like I'm sort of doing something based off of Dave Ramsey, but not completely, so don't come at me. I would recommend that she goes on to build her emergency fund. His baby steps are a little bit different, but I sort of play with them, and I'll go ahead and show them to you so that you can sort of see. So Dave Ramsey's baby steps, 7 baby steps are save $1,000 in emergency fund, which I did start off with, so I was able to do that. Then pay off debt, then do a 6-month fund. So that would be her next goal, because then after that you have invest in IRA, stocks, bonds, save for children's college. If you're having kids, you know, you could do that, save for a house and charity. So not everybody has to do these because, you know, not everyone's going to have kids. Maybe move on to save for a house instead of doing that, but you can sort of like play with this. But I think her next goal would be to save $1,000 in her emergency fund, which she'll meet that pretty quickly with this $342 income that she'll have left over, and then she can build up her 6-month fund. So I'm going to break it down by paycheck period for this one. So let's see what her total is. So I'm going to break it down by paycheck period. So that means that all of these I'm going to break down in half for this first paycheck period with the $215, and then I'm going to break it down in half for the $127 part. So let's do this. So this is 37 and 38, I believe. Oh, I know what I did. So I got to the $75 one, and I was going to split it into 37 and 38. But what I think will just make it easier is if we round this up to 36. So let's do that. Plus 38 plus 10 plus 10 plus 215. So that gives her 440. So that's 440 for paycheck period number 1, which again is pay number 1, which is 810, and pay number 2, which is 352. Then we move on to paycheck number 2, which is pay number 2, which is 352. So now we're going to do again 20. So that's $352 right here. So again, every dollar that she made has a job to do. So now let's go ahead and give her a grand total, and she's going to have 2 separate grand totals, or actually no, just 1 grand total. So her grand total will be pretty much her entire income. So that's 722 plus 440 plus 352, and that equals to 1514, which is what she told me she made on a monthly basis. So that's basically how I figured it out, you guys. So she will sort of get her breakdown, and I'll show you my cheat sheet that I have. This is going to be explained to her a little bit more in depth off camera, but this is how I did it. So for her fixed expenses, I put fund with 10 and 12 paychecks, or paycheck, but it should be paychecks, which that fund is 810 plus 352. So all of that gets funded with those 2 paychecks on the 10th and the 12th. Those 2 paychecks will go towards funding her fixed expenses and half of her sinking funds plus her debt snowball. Then her second paycheck from her office job, which she gets paid on the 26th, I consider paycheck number 2, and that's going to go to pay into the second part of her sinking funds. And her debt snowball. So that's how I have it broken down. So actually I lied before. It's not her grand total is not her entire income because it's missing some money because her income is $1,554, I believe. But I didn't include that tutoring money because it is variable. So she doesn't know if it's going to be $40 or $60. So honestly, those $40 or $60 is up to her how she puts those towards. I mean, she already has plenty of money for her debt snowball. She can always add it into it and then she'll pay that credit card in about a month and a half. Or she can have more money to spend on her fun, her eating out, you know, she can just play with that. Or she can put those $40, $50. If she wants to be really strict about it, she can just add them towards her emergency fund. Whatever she wants to do, she can play with those numbers because it's her money and she already has more than enough in her debt snowball and her debt isn't like massive. So, I mean, really those extra $40, $60, girl, you know, it's up to you what you do with them. Like no judgment. So, I mean, obviously the smart thing to do and the thing that I would recommend would be to put them into car maintenance. Really, car maintenance is so important. I think a lot of people disregard that. I used to disregard it myself, but there's things that come up that you just want to have money for and then you don't have to pull that money out from your emergency funds. So if you want to add those $40, $60 into your car maintenance to build that fund up a little bit, you know, that would be awesome. Or, you know, again, you have emergency fund, you have savings. However you want to do that, it is completely up to you. So that is how I broke down her numbers. I hope this made sense because my brain was all over the place for this. But yeah, that's it, you guys. I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye-bye. And I'm back. So there you have it, you guys. Those are Jackie's numbers. That's the breakdown that I was able to do for her. As you can see, it was a little bit difficult to get that into the 2 paycheck periods that I do for myself because she does have that one income that is a monthly income, and then she has the variable income, and then she has the other income that she gets twice a month. So that's how I was able to figure that out and to get her to that 2 paychecks a month kind of deal. And yeah, I hope you guys took something from that and that was helpful to you guys. And once again, if you guys are interested in me helping you break down your numbers the way that I did for Jackie and the way that I did for Emily Martha before her, hit me up in those comments, and then you can send me an email as well, which I'll put down below in the description box. And once again, you guys, I am not a financial guru, a financial advisor by any sense of the word. I'm not an accountant or a bookkeeper. This is just the knowledge that I have gained from reading all these different books, like A Total Money Makeover, Women in Finances, I believe that's the name of the book, or like You Need a Budget, anything like that. I'll link those books below, and what I've learned from other budgeters on YouTube. So this is just knowledge that I have gained, and it's what I use to do my numbers, and that's how I'm helping some other folks do it. So I just want to state that for you guys. And yeah, so anyways, that was it. I just wanted to say that. So if you have not subscribed yet, please do so now, and then ring my bell so you can stay updated on everything that I have coming up. And then please like and comment. I love your guys' comments. I interact with you guys as much as I can. I do try and answer every single person. Sometimes I will miss a few folks because for some reason they don't pop up on my comments right away. So if I don't get to you, I will, I promise. I do like to answer everyone because I know that when I was going through this whole journey, I had so many questions and I was confused by certain things, and you know, just the fact that someone took the time to answer me was always very, very helpful, and it made me feel like I wasn't alone and like I was being heard. So I definitely tried to be very mindful of that. So yeah, and then also my hair is a mess today and I did not wear any makeup, so I hope I don't scare you guys. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.